market value that you're insured for. The housing value in the housing market here has gone up probably 40% in the last year, so are you underinsured? When you first got your business policy out for your business insurance, was it for one building or was it for more than one building? So take a look at what's covered in that. Do you have business interruption insurance? Back up your data. Make sure you back up your data and you put it in the cloud and you know how to get to it. Backup power supply. If you're able to do that, be able to get a backup power supply for your business. Dr. Generac or something like that for basically some other type of power supply. Establish an emergency communication plan. Okay, we have some business owners out here, and I know much of our sponsors are business owners. Do all of you have a communication plan with your employees? I'm seeing nothing. Okay. And then install wind shutters and plywood over windows and doors. This is kind of everybody does that, so that's kind of okay that way. Question you have to ask yourself, can your business survive a disaster? You have to build a resilient business. And the way to do a resilient business is understand what makes your business run. So we're going to look at risk assessments, and I have a copy of a risk assessment that I borrowed from the Small Business Development Center when Marty came out here and did this a couple years ago, and we'll go over that quickly. Risk assessments. Who are your key stakeholders and your suppliers? Rank the business severity and probability. So you're going to list maybe 5 or 6 different risk assessments of what might happen. And you're going to rank them as far as being likely or not likely and what the impact of your business will be. Risk management planning includes a contingency plan, emergency preparedness, a communication plan, and a business resumption plan. How to disaster recovery actions and community resources available for help. What makes your business run? Think to yourself, what makes your business run? What is important for the operation of your business? Think of the who, the what, the where, and the how. Figure out what is critical, what is essential, and what is non-essential. And how long can you withstand an interruption to those critical functions? A day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. So figure out how long you can survive with those functions being disrupted. Your front line is your bottom line. So maintain current employee contact information. So have phone numbers and addresses and email addresses of all your employees. Have an updated emergency contact information. How are you going to contact your employees? I mean, sometimes you may have to use Facebook as showing where your employees have been marked safe. So use social media, whatever you can, to make sure that you have a backup alternative means of communication. Go through your list of employees and find out what skills they have. You know, you may have some veterans working for you that are very good with logistics and putting stuff from A to B to help you get back to where you need to be. See if anybody has any first aid, CPR, or military training. Help employees with personal disaster plans. Remember, it's not just you that's going to be affected by a disaster, but it's your employees. Make a decision to evacuate, to shelter in place, and figure out what you're going to do with child care, your pets, and your elderly relatives. Have an updated list of your suppliers. Know their contact information, have your account numbers and all this. Well, ask about their contingency plan. So say you have a supplier out in Texas. Ask them what type of contingency plan they have should they get hit by a disaster. And if something that you don't like what they say, make sure you have a backup vendor or two to go to in case you need to use them. So share your knowledge and experience, have alternative suppliers. Be geographically diverse in your selection of suppliers. You may have a primary supplier where you use 80% of the business from, but use a backup supplier or two and keep using them occasionally so you keep a rapport with them and keep the channels open. Here's a risk assessment, and I know you can't see it in the back, so let me just go over this. This was provided to me from the Small Business Development Center, and if you go to their website, the SBDC, they'll have this as one of the checklists on there for disaster recovery. So on the left side, you're going to have your risk. The next column is business severity, if it happens. 5 is the most severe, 1 is the least severe. Second, middle column is probability of happening. 5 is a high probability, 1 is a very low probability. Then you multiply columns 2 and columns 3 together to get a multiplied score. And then when you're going to add up all the scores to figure out what the priority ranking is going to be. And that's going to look something like this. Here's a risk assessment, a hypothetical risk assessment for a restaurant on US 1 in Palm Bay. So they identified 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 types of risk that they may have to deal with. One of them is a potential loss of a key employee. The other one's a building fire, a major supplier bankruptcy, theft, natural disaster, major highway construction, regional and national recession, regulatory change, and a POS accounting system cyber hack. So they went over there and they ranked the severity of all of them. The fire was a number 5, the POS was a number 4, natural disaster was a 5. And then they went to the probability of happening. The probability of happening of potential loss of key employee was the highest probability, major theft, highway construction, and regulatory change. Those are in the number 4s. So they multiply these scores together. You have numbers all the way from 5 up to 15, or up to 16. So 16, the major highway construction, was the number 1 priority ranking that they wanted to worry about, and the loss of a key employee was number 2. And then they can go ahead and look at a priority list for each one of these depending on how far down they wanted to go. So what they did is they took the top 2, the major highway construction, and they listed what should be done, who will do it, and how much it will cost. And they listed these things out as far as bam, 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 little key talking points. Now I've told Nancy that I will make a copy of this PowerPoint available in a PDF and send it to her should anybody need a copy of this. So before the storm, there are some resources out there you need to know about. Most of you probably know this. I'm pretty sure Ask knows this and some of the others. But the Insurance Institute for Business and Home Safety, tips on how to create your business continuity plan, how to rebuild stronger, and an interactive disaster hazard map. Ready.gov is preparedness tips for risk, floods, etc. Here's a copy of what the Ready.gov website looks like. I did a screenshot and it looks really, really bad. But I just wanted to give you guys a copy of an idea of what it looked like. I list each different types of disasters up here and then what to do making a plan over here. How to make a plan, help with your pets, hurricanes, home fires, wildfires, extreme heat, etc., etc. So what do we do after the storm? Find some help, get some support and advice, and get some guidance. So here are some steps to follow. If you have a federal declared natural disaster, register at FEMA. As a business owner, as a renter, or as a homeowner, register with FEMA for assistance. Visit SBA.gov disaster to find out about SBA programs. I think most of you already know about our disaster programs. Contact our resource departments by going to local assistance and go to a disaster recovery webinars. We will have disaster recovery webinars should it happen. In fact, the district office is having a weekly or bi-weekly disaster recovery webinar, which is kind of like this, but I kind of took some stuff and played with it a little bit. Here's some other website addresses. Also, here's one, disastersafety.org, and as I mentioned, ready.gov is another website there. Okay, the SBA has several resource partners to help you. One of them is a Small Business Development Center. This is where I got half this PowerPoint from. They also have a mobile disaster RV that goes out to disaster areas, and then should it be a presidential, then the Department of DEO and the state will go ahead and start their disaster loan program and all that, and then the SBDC will monitor that. Have SCORE. We have the SCORE chapter here. We also have a Women's Business Center. We have Catherine over here from the Executive Director from our Women's Business Center. And then we have VBOT. Any veterans in here, we have a Veterans Business Opportunity Center. They're located in Panama City, but they do outreach training all across the state. Here's some contact information for the district. Kind of gone over these already. And then here is the SBA website for the Small Business Administration. A newsletter. If anybody is not subscribed to the South Florida District newsletter, go to sba.gov/updates, type in your information, and then you'll be able to be on our mailing list for a updated what's going on with the district. We have a YouTube channel and we have a Twitter channel. We have a district office mailbox, South Florida _DO@sba.gov. And here's the number for the district office. Note that the district office is remote working, so the best way to contact us is via email. And here's the YouTube information here. Okay, and that's it on my PowerPoint. Any questions? Everybody's sitting in the back. It's just like, it's like I'm a teacher. Okay, thank you very much.